Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist back again with another logic video, returning to the subject of turn-based combat. Today we're going to be covering how to defend, or put your character in a defensive stance. It's actually fairly easy. We're going to go up to actions, of course. And before we had the actions of attack and magic. Here's our select action, thing. I've added a few new ports into select action. And you just connect the X prompt to them and it should work fine. There's our new prompt for defend, which is just a little, node, of course powered on by a keyframe. They naturally have the power turned off, which I'll go ahead and turn on this switch so that you can see how they're all powered on by the keyframes. That's why they light up when I touch them. Over there you can see it. But basically all I did was grab all these at once with X, press L1 and R2 to copy, moved it over here, and connected the appropriate control ports, coming from this doohickey here, the controller sensor. See how they connect. Yeah, X to X, circle to circle, and in here we have the D-pad up and down. Make sure you connect those from the controller. And basically, this is going to be our new defense prompt, and it has all the same logic of our previous little fellow here, all the same things as magic and attack. Pretty much everything is the same. The only difference is we've made it so you can only select one action instead of two, which you can see up here. We've done that by removing one of the ports. B no longer goes to the second port, and there's only one option, defend. We got rid of the other option. And B loops into A. Just connect B to A and it'll automatically go voop, voop, voop and reset itself. And pretty much everything else is exactly the same. So if you've watched our previous videos, or if you've just studied this, rigmarole on selecting actions, then this is all pretty familiar. Now this port, this particular action, the only one you can select, goes down to our selected action, which is defense. And one little thing I might go over real quick is that I still have all the different players in different selectable boxes, so they're not really connected yet. I haven't bothered to give these two defensive stances yet. It's only the player 1 who has that. You can see the wire leading out goes all the way down. And for his attacks, for this defense, I just copied the chip. What you're going to want is a trigger zone right here, set to tag, and it detects a tag called Team Go, which, if you recall, is what happens when our AI complete a turn cycle. Here. So when the AI are done, it will reset this counter, and you will want this counter for this. Counter right there. And of course, the port I showed you earlier, leading from P1's defense chip, goes in the plus count, and Team Go goes in the reset count, which will reset it no matter what the value is, although the value is only going to be 1 because the target value is set to 1. And we have a little timeline over here When the counter is full, it will set off this timeline, set to play once, which takes 1 turn from our player variable, -1. So it's as if he had made an action like attacking. And it resets his menu back to, back to 0. That should be somewhere in here. Reset menu. And it also counts his turn as being taken, which I believe you can see here, or somewhere. I'll have to take a look at this real quick. It's in turn taking. Here it is. Character turn, or character select / turns. Pretty sure it's in here. Turn skip. Turn gone. There it is. Turn gone. And of course, you're going to want to set this to in scene just to make sure it triggers turn gone. And that's all you're going to need inside that timeline. Next, you'll want a chip, which I've labeled parameters. And it has a basic defensive pose in it, which I've given a little bit of slow up and a little bit of slow down so that he doesn't, just go straight into the pose without any kind of lead up. And we've got an action recorder. And the action recorder just turns off his animations. That's all it does. Very simple. Just open this up, press X, turn it off. L1 and X is how you open it up. Or no, L1 and square is how you open it up, and then turn the power off. Next, we have the damage reduction action recorder. Set to keyframe mode, by the way. You want to make sure you're in that when you do this. And all it does is half his damage by about 20%. It's not very much. You could half it more if you wanted to. You could make it 0 if you wanted to make him invulnerable, depending on, what you're interested in. If you're familiar with our invulnerability tutorial that we did recently, you'll know about this damage modifier and how it can be altered. You can actually increase his damage if you want to, but that's not really necessary. That'll just show how much damage he takes. Yeah, and that's pretty much all you have to do to set up the defensive stance. Now we're going to go ahead and test it. And of course, if you want to know how it's going to go back to normal once the turn cycle is over and the new cycle of turns begins. So we won't be able to attack, but after the enemies have attacked, he'll go back to normal and you can select everything. Now let's test it. I've actually added a method to skip turns, which isn't really a feature, it's more for testing purposes, but we'll go ahead and preview that now. We're on defend. You'll notice we can't select anything else. We can quit out of it, though, if you want to. Then go back to defend. Press X, and he'll enter his defensive stance. And having that second option does give you a little bit of leeway to cancel out if you don't want to actually go into defensive stance. So there is that. And now we're going to press the touchpad, which I have rigged up to skip our turn cycle. They're going to go ahead and attack everyone. Now the damage displayer is still displaying the same amount of damage, but you'll notice that he's actually taking a little less. I'll go ahead and compare, just to show you. It's at 99.2 versus what I think will be 99. Yeah, 99. So he's technically taking less damage. Because the enemies take so little, it's barely even readable. But it is halving his damage by 20% or so. I guess it would actually be more noticeable if you set it to 0. Then he just wouldn't take any damage at all. Now the damage modifier, you're probably wondering, Jimmy, it's displaying the wrong damage. He should be taking less. It's showing a 10 when he should be taking... By the way, why does it say 10? They're not taking 10. They're taking, like, 1. Did I see that correctly? It was 1, actually. Let me take a look at it, though, just to make sure. Yeah, it's 1. But why is he taking 1? Well, it's difficult to split 1 in half, for one thing. I don't know how you chose 0.2 in damage terms. But, you know, say that they're taking 10 damage, and that's halved by 50%. That would mean they're taking 5. How do you make the damage modifier display that? I currently don't have a good way to do that. But I think eventually I'll figure it out. It's not super important, because you can kind of tell by his health bar what amount of damage he's actually taking. It's just a little sloppy, you know? It doesn't look too great if you want to make a professional experience. But I would say that this is not a huge error, and I don't think it undermines the system in general. It's more has to do with the damage displayers. But if I figure out a way to change that, I'll tell you about it and, you know, amend it. For now, though, I think this is actually a pretty good way to do a defensive stance. And of course, you know, there'd be different status effects that you could alter as well. Like if we add poison or things like that, maybe it would keep him from getting poisoned. You know, stuff like that. We'll see. But for now, this is the basics of creating that stance. Hope that was useful to you, and that's all for now.
Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. If you would like to support us financially, consider clicking the join button to become a member and unlock perks. You can also leave a super thanks in the comments, which we would appreciate, or a one-time donation on Ko-fi, link in the description. That's all for now. Goodbye.